All right, so hey, I just wanted to point out, before I put this flywheel back on, take a look at how nasty this thing looks. So the aluminum is all corroded. The steel obviously is rusted. The whole inside, this thing obviously was left outside or whatever. It wasn't well taken care of. But what I want to do is I'm going to try and clean that up a little bit. So I'm going to mix up a solution of some stuff that I use. I'll show it to you here in a minute. And we'll spray it on there, let it soak for a while, and rinse it off, and we'll see how well it does. I just want to clean it. It's obviously not going to transfer heat as well with all that oxidation on it and such. And I just like to see things a little cleaner and neater. But anyhow, we'll be back with that. Give it a couple of twists. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to mix up something that I can clean the rust off and some of that aluminum oxide off that nasty engine. So I'm going to use something called oxalic acid. Probably, some of you may have heard of it. But so oxalic acid, when it comes in contact with, say, iron oxide, turns it into iron oxalate. And that's water soluble, so I can clean off the rust, and it also does cleans up aluminum as well. So you say, okay, where am I going to get oxalic acid? Well, you can buy it in these little tubs like this stuff here, white ox rust stain remover. People use it on driveways and stuff. That's all it is. If you look at the ingredients, it just says all it is it's oxalic acid. Same thing is also if you see wood cleaner, that you can spray clean wood fences and stuff with. It's the same stuff. So what I'm going to do is, and I don't need a whole bunch of it. I got hot water, really hot water coming in here, right? So what I want to do is I'm just going to, actually, you know what? The amount that's in there, there's not a whole lot left in there. I'm going to dump it all right in there. And just hot water and oxalic acid. It's obviously powdered form. So I'm just going to rinse it down in there. And I'm going to try and get that to mix up a little bit there. There we go. I had a water airlock going there. All right, so that's all there is. I got a sprayer. I'm putting the sprayer on it, and I'm going to go spray that stuff and see what we can do to clean it up. All right, so I'm back. I've mixed up my oxalic acid and warm water solution, and I'm just going to spray and spray and spray everything around here, right? And smell it. It's got a pretty strong smell to it. I'm trying to get more of a spray on here, but I'm not getting it. So make sure you wear glasses when you do this stuff. I want to get up in there too, because there's rust all over in there on the frame and such, back of the motor. So I'm going to do this liberally. I'll go on the other side, do the same thing, and then we'll come back in an hour or two and rinse it off and see what it looks like. Okay, so here we go. It's the next day. I'm going to rinse this off. I let it sit overnight. I didn't get to it. So anyways, I got my little pressure washer. I'm going to rinse it off with that and see how we do. So here we go. And just for safety's sake, since that's oxalic acid, I'm using a face mask because I don't want that stuff to, until I get it rinsed down really well, I don't want to run the risk of splashing that in my face or my eyes. And you want to wear probably crappy clothes too. All right, that seems to have cleaned it up pretty good. I'm back at the mower now, and we're getting ready to put the flywheel back on. The cleaning did a pretty good job. I wouldn't call it awesome, but it did clean up, a lot of the superfluous crap that was on it. I did get some flash rusting on the end of the shaft here, where the flywheel goes. I got a little Scotch-Brite pad. I'm going to clean that up a little bit before I put the flywheel back on. It's amazing how quickly things can rust when there is no dirt and oil on them. So just go all the way around. That's probably pretty good. I think that's good. There's actually a little pitting on there from before. Well, I'll put it on there and we'll see if it sits squarely. I think it's fine. But all right, so I want to make sure the key is up there, and I'll set this guy. And it drops right down. And before I had water on this thing, so before I go putting that bolt in, I think I want to blow that hole out, make sure there's no water and crap in there. So, like that. All right, so that's good. The hole is nice and clear, clean. I'm ready to put the bolt in. One thing I do like to do, it's just I don't know, it's a good habit to get into. Bolts like this, I like to just put a little dab of anti-seize on it. You don't need much. I don't know if you see that. Just a dab. And that just keep it so that if I ever need to take it off again, it won't be rusted up on there. All right. So, 1/2-inch bolt or 1/2-inch head. And I know, probably should be using a torque wrench, but to be honest with you, I don't know what the torque specs are. And that's good and solid. Now let's see if it makes that horrible noise anymore. Okay, my magnets aren't dragging. That's a good thing. So what I'm going to do next is get ready and put the magneto coils back on. So I'll do that in the next segment. Okay, so now I'm ready to put the magneto coils back in place. Came off like that. But before we do that, you might notice there's rust on here. So it's an induction coil. It uses magnetism. The magnet, induces a voltage on this coil that's in this enclosed, encapsulated enclosure. But what I want to do is I just want to clean the rust off of here. I don't know that it makes that big of a difference, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'll just clean it off of there a little bit. And that just makes it a little cleaner. So now I'm ready to set this in place. Now these screws, we took them off. They just go into aluminum, threaded aluminum it's right into the engine casting. So what I want to do to protect these is the same thing I did on the flywheel bolt, right? And that is, use some of this stuff. The anti-seize, just because they go into that cast aluminum of the block, so that if you ever had a problem and those guys broke off, you'd be in trouble. You might not be able to save the motor. So, all right. So I put a little bit of anti-seize on each screw. I'm gonna drop them in the hole here. Try and get them lined up. And get them started a little bit. Use a 5/16 socket. I'll run those down. Not tight. We're going to adjust them, so I just want to leave them a little loose. So that I can move that around a little bit. Okay. So, the spec for the air gap on this motor, this Kohler motor engine, calls for between 8 and 15 thousandths of an inch gap between the magneto coil and the magnet. So we're going to pull the magnet around, rotate the flywheel around. Right? Well, start on this end, this side here, right there. Now this piece of paper that I have here, the spec is 8 to 12 thousandths of an inch. This is just from a magazine. I got an advertisement from Home Depot. I measured it with my digital caliper. It's 10 thousandths, so it's perfect for this. And it's flexible, so I can wrap it around. So I have to pull this off the magnet, away from the magnet, and put that in there. And now I can set it down. I have exactly 10 thousandths there. So I can tighten this up, and we should be spot on for the air gap. Well, let me switch that. I'll put a ratchet on here. We want to make sure these are tight. We don't want it to move, obviously, after we set it. And I guess the other thing is, be careful. You don't want to snap those guys off either. It's easy to do. So you kind of got to put a feel. Okay, so now I'm going to pull the cardboard out, and let's see if it rotates without hitting anything. Okay, look at that. That's pretty darn good. All right, so now we'll go to the next one, which is over here. I'm going to leave the magnet off to the side for a second until everything's falling everywhere. So I'll do the same thing on this side with these screws. I'm going to put a dab of anti-seize on each one. Doing that off camera, obviously, because I've got a bunch of things, a bunch of stuff. Okay, so this thing, let's see, this was like that. I can tell just by the way the wires are coiled here. About, you know, how it was installed. The small white wire from the stator winding is on the left side as I look at the back of this here. Okay. Switching the socket here. Okay. So we'll run these guys down. Okay, I got that. Put the socket back on my ratchet here. And then we'll grab my cardboard and just rotate that magnet around. All right, so we should have, that seems really tight here. I think this is as back as far as it'll go. All right, so we'll tighten that up. Again, be really careful not to twist the darn things off. That'd be a really bad day. I'd hate to have to trash this motor because of that. Something dumb like that. Back and forth at a time. Okay, now we'll check it. Make sure they don't rub. And that's good. That's really good. All right, so we're in good shape. I just loosened this bolt up on that flywheel. I'll have to, I guess I better get a torque wrench and do that. I'll have to find the spec for it. But so that's the repair. The next segment, I'm going to actually install a voltmeter on the dashboard and wire it in so we'll be able to tell that this is charging. That was the problem. It wouldn't charge the battery. So that'll allow you to see the voltage of the battery when it's not running, and when you start it up, it should increase. All right, that's all I have for this segment. All right, so we want to check to see if all those repairs made any difference. You know, turn the key on. So there's my voltmeter. It's showing 12.7. So if we were good, that voltage should increase once it starts running. Now the tank is low, so hopefully it'll start. Going up a little bit. Close this. There we go, 13.5. All right, so I think we're good. And back to the battery voltage, 12.8. So the fix worked. We're charging again. Just had to place the flywheel, fix the magnets in the flywheel. So the flywheel repair went very well, I thought. We put it back together and it tested out okay. So good repair there, saved me a lot of money, and I hope it helps some of you guys out there. So if you find my content useful, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.